The amount of money involved in politics is gross. The idea that millions and millions of dollars are pumped in to push your preferences just feels ish. But when it's done in an election that's supposed to be nonpartisan, it just doesn't feel like a pure democracy. Welcome to Breaking the News. I'm Janice Shortle. Wisconsin saw this firsthand for the last several months in the Supreme Court seat races that is now over, praise be. And I heard from a lot of people over the last couple of days disgusted with the money aspect of that race, or wondering why it was a very clearly partisan election for a job that's a judge's job that isn't supposed to be partisan. No fault to the candidates. Now, the answer to that last part is don't blame the founding fathers of this nation for that kind of election. They certainly didn't envision it, and in fact, they warned against it. Jessica Hart takes it from here.
Money makes elections go round, but the amount spent on a judicial race in Wisconsin is raising eyebrows. More than $100 million was spent supporting two judges vying for a seat on the Wisconsin Supreme Court, liberal Judge Susan Crawford and conservative Judge Brad Schimmel.
I'm not phoning it in. I'm here in person.
And most of the money came from people who have next to nothing to do with the day-to-day goings-on of Wisconsin.
Elon Musk came in with some other supporters and spent over $20 million to support Judge Schimmel. And it turned out that there was pushback statewide.
Pushback that propelled Crawford forward to win. But people are tilting their heads because judicial races in Wisconsin are nonpartisan, but this race seemed far from it.
And so the idea of an independent judiciary has always been part of the United States government, and I think part of state governments throughout history, and it's a very important part of our governmental system.
Tim Johnson, a political science and law professor at the University of Minnesota, says the founders understood the importance of keeping judges above the political fray.
I don't think that they thought that the judiciary would or should have as much power as courts do throughout the United States today, and I think that might be one of the things that would bother the founders.
The standard was set centuries ago, but some wonder if we can get back to that idea of an independent judiciary.
I don't think it's fully out the window, but I think that it is certainly something that will be difficult for us to get back to as a nation.
Johnson says what's missing in today's courts are people who sit in the middle. Just look at the U.S. Supreme Court.
Today, we don't have that center. We have 6 very conservative justices, 3 relatively moderate liberal justices.
Without a middle and to do what our founders intended, Johnson says we need people who are willing to compromise.
Yeah, I think the importance of the middle is that we don't want one particular ideology to rule everything in a country. And of course, I think in the heat of the battle or the heat of the moment, we all might think that that's really nice.
Johnson says we won't see judges who are in the middle for several years. He's talking 10, 20, or possibly 30 years when we see those types of judges return.